As per the requirement of Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the Borough of Highlands, Mayor and Council, and all requirements have been met. Notice has been transmitted to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times. Notice has been posted on the public bulletin board. Formal action will be taken. Time may be allowed for public comments at this meeting. Each speaker may be allotted a limited time when recognized by a presiding officer. Individuals wishing to address the council shall be recognized by the presiding officer and shall give their name, address, and group, if any, they represent. Although the council encourages public participation, it reserves the right through its presiding officer to terminate remarks to and by an individual not keeping with the conduct of a proper and efficient meeting. The council will not, during the public session of this meeting, discuss matters involving employment, appointment, termination of employment, negotiations, terms, conditions of employment, evaluations, performance of, promotion, or discipline of any specific or prospective or current employee. Roll call. Councilmember Broswell.
Here.
Councilmember Breon.
Here.
Councilmember Diarigo is absent at this time. Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Mayor O'Neill.
Here.
Workshop, parking lot when flooding is expected.
Okay. What do we have to discuss?
Kim asked me to place it on the agenda.
And where's Kim?
Is this regarding the new parking lot? I have no idea.
I believe so.
It's regarding the parking lot that is next to Scuba,
Right.
where the Jersey barricade is.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, until I saw the agenda, I didn't know this was going to be on, but on that topic, I would be in favor of taking one of those spaces where that's opposite the current entrance and striping it off so that it would be available for egress when it's needed to be.
And there was also a comment at a prior meeting about how we have the permit parking on Shore Drive. But if somebody doesn't have
Oh,
a
you mean,
permit, to be able to
handicap?
park there when it is a flood event is happening.
The permit, you mean,
Well, isn't the permit parking certain hours down there wherever it's at? Like business hours it's supposed to be, I would think. Shouldn't be, just permit all day and all night, I don't think. Because if it's concerned about the commuters using it, then it's basically through the day, isn't it? Shouldn't be on Saturdays and Sundays.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
We're talking about when there's a flood event and people who live around this area here, they want to move their car to higher ground to get away from the tides.
the Shore Drive is
Shore Drive is higher ground.
Where is resident parking or wherever at on Shore Drive? It's down past Scuba East, isn't it?
Yeah, it's from Marie, whatever that street is past it.
Okay.
Matthews?
Do people generally go down that far to park when it floods? I don't know.
so they go everywhere.
I was going to say they go
Yeah,
everywhere.
they go where they can.
There should also be able to park up in the new parking lot that we just got until construction's going on.
Oh, up at,
Up at
up at
OPH,
OPH?
yeah.
We could do that. That's
Because I know that OPH never let people park there, so that they would tow the cars, so we should
Right.
let them know that they can park up there.
okay. But the people down this end of town aren't going up there to park, I don't think. Then you gotta walk
There's a
back
lot of people that park on Highland Avenue during the storms.
from down
Yep.
this end of
From
town?
I don't know which end of town. So-
Well, if you're dropping off and I gotta walk back, I don't know if people are doing that.
So
I was-
occasionally, but
What about this, I was thinking about? What if we left the parking at Scuba and the Beast the way it is and put a curb cut on the end of Central so you could drive right through that parking lot and out?
In the middle?
Down that end.
that might suffice. There could be a little bit of water there during the flooding, but it's not usually as deep there as it
No,
is
not up there.
in the intersection.
And I don't know actually if it's working since the DPW super redid the valve up there. I don't know if it's flooding as bad.
Oh, go ahead. On the Monday after
Central?
Thanksgiving, it was bad.
Yeah. Is it halfway up the lot?
Oh, it went. Yeah, it was bad.
Okay.
That was an unusual.
The reason I put parking there was, one, was to get as much parking in that lot as possible.
Yeah.
And two, so people didn't get caught in traffic waiting for the stop sign and shoot through that parking lot to shoot down Bay Avenue from that end. You know what I mean? And while we were there, once it was approved, people have done that. You know, they make the shortcut through, they come out by Gravely
Yeah.
Point, and then they go.
Yeah, I don't want to make it so people use it as a shortcut.
Right,
I
that's
just-
why
I-
it was barricaded off.
I just like it so during some flooding events that you can egress from that part of town to
Right.
Shore Drive.
So why don't we put a chain up there, and when it starts to storm, it can be taken down?
Well, it's not,
I mean, we could do
Well, it's
something
not
as simple as that.
a chain, because it's already barricaded on one side.
Yeah, but if we're putting the cut on Central, if we're putting a cut that you can get out on the other side, if you put
Yes,
a
I
chain
think-
up there during,
Yeah.
if we know there's gonna be a storm.
Well,
there's a warning.
I know, but the chain doesn't work. Tell you from
But it-
experience
but-
with the Miller Street.
But a
line.
curb cut on Central is not going to be used by anybody cutting through,
Right.
in reality.
Yeah, it's saving
Right.
anything.
So if
It's
you put
only-
one there, and it will make the parking lot easier to egress and enter, if you want to make it that both ways to come in off of Central, or it could be just for egress out, so you didn't have to turn your car around and come back out onto South.
Make it
Main
an
by
exit
Central.
only.
We
Make
made
it,
an exit only, you could get out that way.
I'd be in favor of that if, especially if we kind of cheat it towards the Shore Drive side, not right in the middle,
To the high side,
okay,
right.
to the high side. I think that would serve the purpose.
You know, because I do believe we're going to get people coming through that parking lot. You didn't get it as much because there was a 2-foot hole there before
Yeah.
we improved it. So
Yeah.
now that there's not, you're going to get it through there.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
Uh,
Would you like to speak on the subject?
Yeah, I was going to ask since you look upon that area,
I do. It was my understanding I'm not allowed to speak at a workshop, but I appreciate you.
I'm just
but we're going to ask,
I will tell you my experience is that I have not seen people use the parking lot as the shortcut from Shore to Bay. They'll just go to Central Ave and go to stop sign. So having that driveway closed or open really doesn't make a difference for traffic flow. Maybe it happens during events when traffic backs up farther, but ferry traffic never really backs up to as far as my driveway, aka parking lot driveway. So I don't think opening those two spots as it was prior to paving is going to be an issue for people heading through.
well,
What I would like to see is that parking lot driveway open as it was before the paving, take those two parking spots away, and somehow allow people during flood events to use that permit parking only. It is 24/7, 365 permit parking. And it was not put in because people didn't like C Street parking there. It was put in to give visibility for the apartment and condominium driveways. Because the residents there were complaining that they couldn't see when they were pulling out onto Shore Drive and having near accidents. You can confirm with Chief Burton, but I think nobody has had a visibility accident. So, you know, if you can coordinate with the chief of police that during these flooding times, because if you change the permit parking to daytime only, sometimes it floods during the day, and it would be nice to have that available to residents to park there.
So where is the permit parking? On your side of the street?
It's on both sides
Both
of the
sides.
street, and it starts at Marie, which is basically the driveway to C Street, goes all the way down Shore to Willow, is that Willow or Locust? I just forget. To the edge of the road that goes to the marina, and also that side street, which I think is Locust. And Locust, I'm fine with that being resident parking 24/7. They've got much tighter issues than me North Shore Drive.
is it feasible to make that, the permit parking during, or just prior to flooding and during flooding,
To suspend?
the permit suspended? And then how long after flooding do you give them to, do you put it back into effect?
Go ahead, Kim.
I fully 100% support the idea of opening that up during flooding issues, during flooding time. I do see the flip side of that, where if you open it up to the residents and they put their cars there, if there's some open spots, C Street might sneak in there too. So, the flip side of the coin. I don't know if that helps or hurts or even really matters, just something else to consider. I still support opening up that parking during flooding events.
What,
The lot.
Parking.
The two spots that got,
The permit parking.
The two spots in the parking lot, I would love to see those opened up 24/7, 365, because I don't think we have an issue with cars cutting through there. Because if they just go to Central Ave, they're going to go short a day to get around.
oh, the commuters don't do it. The people who live over there do it.
So it's your neighbors on Grafton.
Yes, it is.
So you got to talk to your neighbors.
Yeah.
Well, when Chief Burton arrives and gives his report, we could ask him, it's been however many months since this has been implemented with the permit parking.
We could just ask.
In his
probably-
opinion, does it work? Has it been working?
I would ask that if you want to have him answer that maybe I sit down and meet with him and ask him after him.
Well, then it's just put him on the spot in front of, everyone. But when you do have that meeting, to ask him how many tickets, what's quantifiable? How many tickets have been made? How many accidents have there had? Are there any line of sight accidents going on? And that way he can present that data to you, and then you could let us know.
Yeah, to justify it.
Because as he said when we implemented it, he goes, it may work, it may not work. We don't know unless we try it, and we could
And
try
not
it,
only that,
and maybe it doesn't work.
It should be a paid permit as well. I mean, who affords, the cost of the permit? I feel strongly about that as well. Well, you have the cost of the permit as well. The time to make out the permit, the cost of the permit coming in. If it is making sense, if it isn't making sense.
You have to speak up.
Well, in actuality, what is it? Is it a resident with a spot there that just has a sticker, or is it a resident of the town? See, I believe resident parking is for that resident. Anybody in the town can use that spot. That's how I feel. The guy comes in from Long Branch, can't use that spot because he's not a resident. But I don't believe that I should be able to drive down there and say park on Willow Street, wherever there's parking, and go to Bolliman's Marina and not be able to. I don't believe that's how that, I believe a resident should be able to pay to park in resident parking because he's a resident of this town. That's how I feel about it. And always have. Because resident parking isn't to give you a spot in front of your house, and you a spot in front of your house, and me a spot in front of my house. That's not what it's for. It's to give the resident of the town, in my opinion, the ability to
Preferential
park
parking, anywhere.
wherever he's at. And keep those who are transient through town, be it to C Street or whatever, and that seems to be the largest problem
I
that we're
came
talking
in when the
about.
permit came about, so I'm not too familiar what the actual issue was. Was this because was it the residents that lived there only had one spot, so they needed an additional spot, and there was not enough parking in that area?
No, it was because the condos down there, Kim said that before, couldn't see as they were pulling out
Because the
because
commuter parkers would park
Parking
right
You should
up
be
to
able-
the edge.
You should be able to open the site triangle by ordinance, I would think.
There was also issues with people coming home from
Hang on a
work and
second,
not
Ken,
finding
you'll have to hold
spots.
your hand up. Well, see, that's not how this works, because then in actuality, every street in the town should have be like a handicap spot. That's 224 Navasink Avenue, that's Ricky's spot.
Yeah.
That's how that, and it doesn't work like that.
If I go to food store after church, I have no parking except on my garage, so.
The discussion prior to permit parking was the sight lines from the condominiums and the apartment complex. And we begged, pleaded, whatever we could do to get yellow curves painted to give the sight lines. Chief Lewitt said it was illegal, and we could not do it according to the state of New Jersey. Chief Burton, when he became chief, backed him up, said, we absolutely cannot paint yellow curves. That's all Carol Bucko and the people at the apartment complex. They just wanted to be able to see pulling out of their driveways.
The yellow line that we did,
No, this was prior to
This is
permit
before.
parking, prior to painting anything. And she said, can we just get some yellow curves at the driveway? And we were repeatedly told no.
You could do that by ordinance, no?
you
There
can't
are-
yellow line.
I
There
did
are
yellow
state statutes that regulate when there's a crosswalk in the vicinity and how far you can have them, but I'm certainly happy to look into that with you.
But you figure, say on Highland Avenue,
Yeah.
when you go up on Highland Avenue, halfway through, almost to Rosemary's house, there's a hard, if you're coming from the bridge, there's a hard right turn there.
Mhm.
Guy parks right there,
And you can't see.
and you can't, not only can't
Wait,
see, you
no,
can't
there
get
is-
through.
Yeah.
And we should be able to yellow that out and say, that's no parking there because it's a hazard to
25
traffic.
feet from a...
I don't know.
Regardless if anything's there.
This isn't
That's a
20
hazardous
this isn't
spot,
25
that's a
feet
hazardous
from a corner
condition,
or
you
a
should
stop
be able
sign.
to yellow that out.
This is mid-street, and
It's just a bend in the road.
Turn.
You know, I don't understand how that works, because you can make one side of the street no parking, if you decided to,
Right, but if the chief of police
anywheres.
can say that it's a safety hazard, and we're happy to review it and look at and amend the ordinance accordingly, so if it's proper, so. But there are regulations for where you can and can't do it.
I don't know, I didn't read the book, but public safety seems to be something that would
Yeah.
supersede that.
Absolutely.
Right.
And as Kim alluded to, there are provisions, 20 or 25 feet, whatever it is, from crosswalks too, so we just look at it closer. That's all.
Because on Highland
Exact
Avenue,
locations.
and Rosemary will attest to, anybody's been up there, and I plow the snow up there, and they park there, and they park across the street, that jams you up.
Yeah.
That jams you up hard there,
I just said to Brian, I almost got hit by a car when I was down there.
because you gotta go to the left side of the road, and not far past that corner is there's a speed bump there, I believe.
Mhm.
You know, so, I think that we should be able to just say, you know what, between here and there, it's yellow.
And that is a
Can't
borough road,
park
not a
there.
county road, correct?
Borough Road.
Correct.
I don't know.
It's a borough road.
So,
You'll have to look, would you look into that, Brian?
Yes, absolutely.
And maybe, you know, it's a hazard, and maybe we can get away from this resident parking altogether and just extend the
Extend
yellow
the
light
striping.
through ordinance.
Exactly.
You know, I would think, I don't know.
that's all striped for parking, for parking spaces
Mhm.
there.
But it never was before,
No, that's new.
until we did this.
Okay,
Yeah.
but, you know, it's just the
You
same
could
with the
leave the
lot there.
striping and take away the permit parking.
Uh,
There's many
yeah.
different ways to do
Right,
it.
but
I
if the
still
first,
think,
if the first stall encroaches on what has to be yellow, it has to be removed. Right.
Exactly.
I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah,
That would have.
so you can make a bigger sight triangle, because
Mhm.
there's little ones there, but they're not- I guess they're not big enough.
Open up through that lot, we gotta take the stripe out. I think we only have to take one out because it'll set the boundaries by the other two.
right. So Kim, you're good with having that conversation with chief
Absolutely.
and then letting us know?
What do we wanna do at the new parking lot? Do you wanna take two spots out, or you wanna leave them in, and I don't care. What do you wanna do? You wanna take them out for now? Take the one stripe out, and we'll just leave it, that'll be in and out, and I'm not gonna put a curb cut down at the other end of the road. When they do the drainage job, we'll put the curb cut in then.
Okay.
Because that road will be repaired back then, won't it? There's drainage going down by
Right.
Scuba
Mhm.
Beach, Central Avenue, and the end, and if we're gonna do something, we'll do it then. All right.
I
Okay.
agree. Ron?
So
you good with
does
that?
it-
I'm all good with that.
So do we have, late in the regular meeting, or we have to make a motion for that? Or is it, what,
No.
who's going to do it?
Just have the conversation, get back, and
Okay.
We'll have to get some,
I can do it.
I don't know how that comes up.
we're
We're
gonna get some guidance from Shabaric.
paint over that stall there to take it over.
Right.
Because I don't want to take that out and yellow stripe it, and then say, wow, people are cutting through here and have the same conversation in reverse and have to put that back.
Mm.
Right. And
Take all the yellow out.
in the past, Chief Burton has driven me to certain locations so I can see it physically, which helps, so I'll talk to
Okay.
him.
All right. We're good on that?
Merchant.
I'll send the DPW guy down to black it out somehow. See, that's a plastic. That's not paint. That's like, what is it? The guy told me. It's like a melted credit card. And it's not painted on, it's a hard surface, and I don't know how it's gonna come up.
Got to sandblast it.
All right, we'll leave that up to Dave. He
We'll
does
figure
more
it
road
out.
stuff. Go ahead, Ms. Gorka.
I just have one suggestion, maybe just paint no parking in those spaces. Maybe it's just not the hard plastic, and then if that's easier to take up, and we change our mind, we just take away the no parking in the spaces there.
I'm trying to think of how that is. if we take out one stripe, I think it'll open up two bays,
Right.
but I think a white line goes across, because that's actually a sidewalk there. You know, so, we'll figure it out. I'll have the county road guy do it, or the ex-county road guy.
The ex-county road guy. Fees.
Fee schedule. Is that you, Ms. Gonzalez?
Yeah, just activities for you guys to discuss, but our fee schedule needs to be updated, so I emailed everyone the current ordinance fees that you put together.
Is this for all the fees?
All of the fees in one ordinance. It's a beautiful thing.
For all the fees and all the ordinances need to be updated.
Is that just building and housing fees?
No.
Absolutely every ordinance.
Police, everything?
Police,
So, I mean,
records.
and as I looked at it, the very first one, the loan says $40 an hour for an off-duty officer. That's not even what their contract says. So, I mean, that's something that, has to be updated. For off-duty, it says nonprofits have a different cost, school districts have a different cost. So these are all things that we had to definitely update. And then within that email, I had also sent the other municipalities fee schedules as well. If we, I know Rosemary's not feeling great tonight, so if you want next meeting, we can go over it in better detail at the end of the meeting, if you like, or in stuff, if it's a lighter meeting, and go over every fee, what we want to actually change it to or have it ready.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can email back and forth, between the meetings. But, you'll see there's certain things, like an application for a handgun is only $2. So, there's just certain fees here.
The
that the
handguns
cost
this week,
the
if you're
district
looking to
costs
go.
alone for us to do these, applications are just much higher.
That's the cheapest thing.
Yeah, so,
$2.
I mean, certain things overs, we don't really have much say over that, that's a state statute. So, that is what it is. But there's just certain things that I think that we can update and we can up the fee for it. At this time, I would also say that the community center, we need to take a look at that fee ordinance, and change some things for that as well. That usage fee needs to be increased. And then I'd like to change the fact that for the alcohol use as well. Instead of for each person that would like to use it and be allowed to have alcohol, instead of us doing a resolution to allow an adult to use alcohol, that we just have a fee, and that they have their requirement that they have to follow.
There'll be an extra fee for alcohol, right?
Ordinance.
Extra fee. Okay.
And that they, get the required insurance still,
Correct.
that there's a fee for that. That's the fee within the ordinance.
Is the insurance higher?
Well, right, they have to, there's an insurance they have to get,
Okay.
that they currently get. But I mean, if you see the $35, I mean, that's a low fee that they get, to use the center.
And that's for the entire year? It's not even per occurrence?
Yeah.
So, I don't think these fees have been updated in many years.
Yeah.
$2 for a handgun permit, come on.
The fee for alcohol, what do you mean? It's a year, that's per event.
Well, if you use the community center and you use alcohol, though, I mean, they have to get an insurance. That we don't get that. But the ordinance itself, it's written in that it's an alcohol ban, but it says we're allowed to do a resolution to waive, the ban. But I think that maybe we need to rewrite that.
Just change the ordinance so that it's allowed.
I think it's, prohibition. I think that adults should be possible. And if we want to, just still make it that they have to prove the insurance that they get, that should be the requirement. Whether that's an additional cost, and that the person that's running the center obtains that insurance with them, assist them, that could be something that we decide. But which they do more or less now, which would be a higher cost that they assist them to make sure that they get that insurance. I could it would be an additional
And
cost.
the fee will be every time it's used.
That's
Right.
So if I paid for it one time, I use it one time, come back again, I pay again, the whole situation.
correct.
Okay.
Now, let's say if you have a baby shower, you're using it that one time, there's a usage fee. Now, there are programs, let's say the Gymboree's community program uses it, or whatever it might be. There is, for resident use, it's only $35 for the year.
Mhm.
That's a low cost. That
Well,
should
I spoke
increase.
to this issue. Let's just, we'll figure out something.
Right, we should take into consideration. I mean, if it is a community group, I don't think it should be outrageous, but it should definitely take into effect. $35 doesn't even
It
cover
should
the
take into account,
electric cost.
but how often they
And
want
that,
to use it?
right, and
They're
how
going to use
often
it every
they
week,
use
or
it.
they're going to use it every month?
Right, and, right now, the issue is that who has the keys for the facility? Who's letting them in? Is an employee having to let them in? Without somebody coming in, now they're on the clock. So all of these have to be taken into consideration. I actually had someone come out, to the building to get a key fob. So let's say it's a community group. They'd be able to use their phone and swipe in with their phone to get into the building. So if they get to the building on a Thursday night between 7 and 8, their code will only work at the building between 7 and 8 on a Thursday night.
That's a good idea.
That person. That's only that person on that phone, that's it. Right.
Okay. That sounds reasonable, I guess.
Yeah. One door, I think it's worth it.
Until they lose their phone.
So they lose their phone, and then, one of us are running down, which, it's not so bad, because, all of us have a key, and one of us are usually around, but, I think it's, that also was.
That's not generally how it works. In reality, if you call somebody out, they usually pay show-up time, don't they? So that
An
has to be
employee,
covered.
yeah, right, well, but right now, we always have to have an employee, well, should have an employee, but what I'm finding is there's a lot of keys out there.
We've changed the keys on these facilities so many times.
Right, so, we don't want a lot of keys out there. So that's that. So I don't know if everyone got to look at the fee ordinance. How does everybody feel about the summer recreation fees?
They're fine, people are paying them, right?
Yeah.
So,
I was looking at this summer, I really think what would be a positive is if we went to a week-by-week program, to have a
So have specialties every
program.
week?
And a fee for each week? Good luck.
Mhm.
Well, don't you have a fee for like summer camp? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, we have a
$35.
registration fee, yeah.
Okay. And then what?
That's it.
That's
So each time you have, I don't understand what you're talking about.
What she's saying,
You're saying
instead of
so-
the annual or the one-time
The
fee
6
for
week
2
fee.
kids of $50, that you can bring your kid this week and it's gonna cost $25 for that week. You may skip the second week, but you come the third week and then it's $25 for the third week. That's what you're saying, right?
Well, wouldn't it be better to have it $35 the park and then you buy into the different things?
Yep.
I don't know, just
Oh,
ask.
man, you guys, I'm glad I'm not gonna be here for that one.
I don't know.
Right,
Because
that
there's
way you
all these
actually
things.
knew the enrollment, you had people sign up for certain weeks, and you knew who was showing, and there's accountability, right. So that's something.
Well, that's, to me, and we discussed this, that's the key thing, is accountability.
Correct.
Putting locks on gates and making sure people can't leave. or
Who's
people can't
showing
attend it,
and who you're
who
paying to
comes
show
during the day,
up,
that kind of
and
stuff.
you have the right people teaching you the right,
That's more important,
you can offer the right things, have people show up for what they want to show up for.
Do your kids come here?
They do.
So how's
Great.
the fee? Is the fee low, high, medium? What do you
Oh,
think?
the fees here are very low.
Ridiculously low.
Okay. All right.
I would support raising them to some
It
degree.
doesn't even,
Doesn't cover the
doesn't
staff.
cover it, doesn't
Yeah.
cover.
Okay, I'm
One
just
child.
asking.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I don't have
Fees
kids
should-
in this anymore,
Right.
you know?
And there's no room to complain about what you get because it doesn't,
you're not paying
you're
anything.
not paying anything.
You're paying $2.50 a week, is basically.
And from an observation, we have,
And you want to work with them.
we have
Fine, you wanna
drawn
work with
people
them.
from out of town
Experience.
because the fees here are cheaper.
And you should have that, the higher end town.
They're a third, more than a third less.
You should have a cap for the out of town.
If you're out of town, you should pay more.
It is a higher fee, but.
It is
It is now?
But not by
Well,
much.
But not much.
$20 more, I think.
Yeah, $25, yeah. But that was
Okay,
the,
so basically what you have to do is you have to figure out what your costs are, what you had people turn out last time, and you pretty much get a number of where you should go.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, so I'd like to, have everybody sit down and talk to
I have the fees for
think-
every town.
Me
I
too.
have them, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go,
can
you
talk
guys
about
can
them
work
tomorrow.
that out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Private and public, yeah.
yeah. Well, private.
Private's
Yeah.
outrageous. Okay.
Okay, we gotta close this up. We got a lot on executive.
Executive session, whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the public body is in the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss attorney-client privilege, form-based code, captain's code, feasibility study, COA, HBP, litigation, Good Neighbor LLC, Hilltop at Linden, and 278 Bayside Drive. Minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, the minutes will be made public. Now therefore be resolved that the mayor and council go into executive session to discuss the above items, and the public is excluded from this meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diarigo?
Yes?
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil?
Yes.
Executive session resolution has been approved. We enter into executive session at 7:03. Calling the meeting to order. As per the requirement of Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the Borough of Highlands, Mayor and Council, and all requirements have been met. Notice has been transmitted to the Asbury Park Press in the 2 River Times. Notice has been posted on the public bulletin board. Formal action will be taken. Time may be allowed for the public comment at this meeting. Each speaker may be allowed a limited time and recognized by the presiding officer. Individuals wishing to address the council shall be recognized by the presiding officer and shall give their name, address, and group, if any, they represent. Although the council encourages public participation and reserves the right through its presiding officer to terminate remarks and/or by any individual not in keeping with the conduct of proper and efficient meeting. The council will not, during the public portion of the meeting, discuss matters involving employment, application, appointment, termination of employment, negotiation, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation and performance of, promotion or disciplinary any prospective or current employee. We all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We just have a moment of silence for the passing of President Bush and the young fellow from town, Tom Rafferty, this week. Thank you.
Roll call. Councilmember Broswell?
Here.
Councilmember Breon?
Here.
Councilmember Diarigo?
Here.
Councilmember Ryan?
Here.
Mayor O'Neil?
Here.
Approval of minutes, June 11th, 2018. Are there any amendments or corrections?
None.
Do I have a motion to approve the June 11th minutes?
Yes.
I'll second. Roll call.
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diarigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil, you were absent for that meeting. That's an abstain. The June 17th minutes have been properly approved.
June 11th.
June 11th.
I'm sorry, June 11th minutes have been properly approved. November 7th, 2018 minutes, are there any amendments or corrections?
No, I'll offer that as well.
Is there a second?
I will.
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diarigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil?
Yes.
The November 7th minutes have been properly approved. Public hearing and resolution. Resolution 18-181 regarding the 2018 mercantile license for Captain's Cove.
In accordance with Chapter 4-9.5C of the Borough Code and NJSA 40:52-2, revocation proceedings were initiated against Captain's Cove with respect to their 2018 mercantile license. On August 16, 2018, the Borough Engineer's Office issued a report indicating that the bulkhead required emergent repair and a replacement in multiple areas. As a result, on September 5, 2018, a hearing was conducted, and the property owner represented, Mr. Rosiak, that the repairs would be completed by November 30, 2018. As a result, the revocation proceedings were tabled until October 17, 2018, to ensure that the repairs were on track. Mr. Rosiak at that time represented the repairs were on track to be completed by November 30th, 2018. As a result, the revocation proceedings and the resolution that is on the agenda was then tabled to today's meeting, December 5th. By way of correspondence dated November 12th, 2018, which has been marked as Exhibit BH6 and is provided to Mr. Rosiak, the Borough Administrator advised Mr. Rosiak of the continuation of the hearing today. Marked as Exhibit BH7, which was also furnished to Mr. Rosiak, was the certified mailing proof of receipt. Marked as Exhibit BH8 is a report from TNM, the Borough Engineer's Office, dated December 5, 2018, concerning the current status of the repairs to the bulkhead. I will turn it over to the Borough Engineer, Mr. Ed Herman. Mr. Herman, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
And you are a professional engineer licensed with the state of New Jersey, correct?
I am.
And you authored a report based upon an inspection that was conducted on December 5th, 2018, correct?
The inspection was done yesterday,
Okay.
December 4th.
And the report was authored today?
Correct.
Okay. And can you explain to the council what your findings were with respect to the repairs to the bulkhead at issue?
Yes. Going back to mid-August, we had reported on the emergent repairs in multiple locations. That was issued in a report to the owner on August 16th and copied to the board. We went out again yesterday. I believe about a month ago, there was activity that had been completed in furtherance of the August 16th letter. That's why the representation was made that there was an effort being put forth. Based on the results of yesterday's inspection, there were multiple areas from the August 16th report that had not been addressed. In fact, our inspection indicated that only one of the areas on the westerly side, reasonably abutting Recreation Place, about 115 feet long section, was completed. No work appears to have been done along Washington Avenue or in the southwest corner of the bulkhead area that had shown failure. The continuation of the problems on Washington Avenue and the failure to perform those repairs are causing damage to the public roadway on Washington Avenue. That's an ongoing matter over there. So my representation is that all of the work outlined in the August 16th letter has not been accomplished at this time.
And you attached several photographs containing aerial images of the site, did you not?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you also indicated that the section of bulkhead that was repaired was backfilled with a red clay material that is inappropriate for this location, was messy, is not graded appropriately. This will require additional attention. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Okay. Can you explain what additional attention would be required now because of that?
Yeah, the material is not typically what you would use behind a bulkhead. It's causing issues with retention of surface water and impacts to the adjacent properties, one of which had previously appeared before this board to raise concerns about the techniques that were being used in the construction.
And in the description of work performed on the second page, there's an indication that southwest marina corner has toe failure. Can you explain that?
Yes, toe failure in a bulkhead basically is the bottom section has excess pressure from the landward side and forces the toe or the bottom area of the bulkhead to push out under undue strain.
And then there's reference to bulkhead toe failures along Washington Avenue side. Would that be the similar type?
Yes.
Okay. And you also mentioned all areas of sinkhole development along the back of the bulkhead on Washington Avenue. That was observed by your inspection or TNM's inspection?
Correct, and that's been an ongoing problem.
Okay. Mr. Rosiak, you're permitted to present to the council. Do you swear or affirm that any testimony portion that you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, but nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. You can present your case to the council.
Our efforts have been placed on the building and the section of the bulkhead that was going to be down there at the end of Washington. For the last, thank you. Unfortunately, they extended my treatments a week longer than I thought they were going to, so I didn't finish until the 16th of November. In any case, we decided we have to get everything out of that building before we can go ahead and fix that section of bulkhead. And that's been something that I've worked at for the last 20 days. There's been everything from my possessions from the house I demolished to an entire kitchen which we've had to remove. If you took these pictures yesterday, you should have seen people on the roof removing a 500-pound fan that we got off so we could get the kitchen out of there and the hood out of there. We've emptied out the marina building so we can disconnect it from the bulkhead as it now is so that we can then go ahead and replace that section of bulkhead, 52 feet of bulkhead. The materials have been ordered, they're there on the site. We're another day or two from finishing everything we need to with the building so that we can start on the bulkhead.
With all due respect, sir, the areas in question were not, in this report, we're not talking about the building, we're talking about the other areas that were identified as emergent failure conditions in the August 16th report. That's the southwest corner when the bulkhead goes and turns on that 45-degree angle, that area, and then several areas on Washington Avenue towards the middle section were the areas that were identified as failed, where the roadway pavement is disturbed in that whole area where they're...
That's my misunderstanding then, because I thought when I appeared before the council in October, I was focused on that one final section that we had agreed to do, which was the end of Washington Avenue in front of the building. You're right, we haven't done anything about the southwest corner, and I don't know what to say.
You have anything else to add for the mayor and council?
We've actually removed a section of the building, as you can see from the yellow color from the 1930s. There's been a lot of work that's been done in the last 3 weeks, and as much as I possibly could do. Unfortunately, we're not in a position, I'm not in a position, the marina has lost money since Hurricane Irene. So we can't spend money we don't have, we can't, operate on a deficit. The people I hire, I have to be there to work with. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
Anybody have anything from the table? Okay. Reluctantly, but that's how it's going to have to be. We're going to make a motion to revoke the mercantile license that we have, right? It's just where we have to go right now. And we're not, we keep working on that marina, and, maybe things will change, but that's where we're going to go tonight, okay? We talked about this, we knew that a week or so ago was the date, and I'm sorry, for all the problems that you have. I really am, that. We've talked.
Right, I appreciate that.
That's,
and I'm embarrassed that we haven't been able to do what I had committed to do, but
I understand.
it hasn't been humanly possible, frankly.
Understood.
What are the implications of you, if you decide tonight to...
Mr. Chair, what are the implications?
You can no longer operate, and you're subject to enforcement, and there's fines involved, but it's in the borough code.
Simplified?
Yeah, do the clammers have to get out of there, is that what you're saying?
I guess that has to happen.
You're going to have to stop operating.
We have to stop operating.
Is that considered operating? They paid for that a long time ago. They paid through the end of the year.
I don't know.
You're going to have to take that up with them.
I tend to think yes. I tend to think that's how it's going to have to be. You're probably going to have to vacate, and you're going to have to cease operations as sales down there.
Yeah, we haven't been doing any further sales, but I'm talking about,
But you know what I'm saying.
right.
Maybe you speak to your guy and he can give you some direction on it, your attorney.
So is there a motion where it says, "Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Highlands that after due consideration of the matter, the following determination has been made to the 2018 mercantile license for Captain's Cove Marina, that the 2018 mercantile license for Captain's Cove Marina is hereby revoked."
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Roll call?
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember DiRigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil?
Yes.
Resolution 18-181 has been properly approved.
I would like to thank the council for their indulgence, and up till this point, you guys have been fair. I understand your decision.
Do you
Thank
think
you,
you're going to
Fred.
keep trying to get it repaired?
Yeah, we've got the materials there, and yes, I had planned on it.
Mayor, is it possible if he gets this repaired for next year, we can reinstate?
I
Just
would
mercantile?
have to think if he gets it repaired, we can reinstate. I would have to think so.
Ryan, can you
Well,
weigh in?
And he's going to have to apply for a 2019 mercantile license. We're in December now, so,
2018's almost
yeah.
over anyways. Yeah, I don't see that. We fix it, we come back to the table again. I believe that's fair. I do anyways.
Yeah. We'd like to see an operation, so I would keep going as much as you can.
Thank you.
What's next?
Consent agenda. Resolution 18-233, approved payment of the bills. Resolution 18-234, renewal of liquor license for the 18-19 term. Resolution 18-235, authorized award of non-fair open contract professional services to CME for the Community Development Block Grant improvements to Shore Drive, 2nd Street, and Cedar Street. Resolution 18-236, authorized refund of tax overpayment. Resolution 18-237, provide for the transfer of surplus funds. Resolution 18-238, property tax cancellation refund. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember DiRigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil?
Yes.
The consent agenda has been properly approved. Resolution 18-239, setting forth reasons for adopting ordinance 18-21, notwithstanding the Land Use Board report. Do I have a motion?
I'll offer.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember DiRigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil? Resolution 18-239 has been properly approved. Resolution 18-240, setting forth reasons for adopting ordinance 18-22 in light of Land Use Board report. Do I have a motion?
I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember DiRigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil?
Yes.
Resolution 18-240 has been properly approved. Resolution 18-241, authorized shared service agreement with Middletown for building department services. We need to open the meeting to the public.
Meeting to the public. Ms. Buckland?
Carol Bucko, 330 Shore Drive. I just was wondering, I see today that you have included all the fees and everything. They weren't in yesterday's, they weren't in Monday's agenda, so I haven't had a chance to look them over. But I just wanted to be sure that the fees are consistent with the fees that we have. And I also would like to know if Middletown has sufficient staff to handle our department, and who gets the fees, and how much are we paying for sharing facilities. I can't over it because I'm not allowed to ask questions in Oakland. I have to ask the questions here.
Okay.
What we're paying.
The fees for the shared services of Middletown, it's in the resolution right in front of you.
Yeah, are they different from ours? I haven't had a chance to look.
What do you, when you're
Those are-
saying, what do you mean
They're
different?
UCC, they're the,
That's
Those are
an
up.
ordinance that has to now be changed. The fees are going to conform with Middletown. That's required by the administrative code and by the DCA. When you enter into a shared service agreement, you have to conform with their
That's in
fees,
your
with their
one
fees.
So Middletown gets the fees.
No,
we get the
no.
fee.
The borough's getting the fees, but the fees are at their rates.
Oh, okay. And we get the fees.
It's in the shared service agreement, so it'll be publicly available, yes.
Are we paying for the shared service?
Of course,
Carol, it's on the second page of the ordinance, what we're paying.
the resolution spells out
On
the
the second
essential
page of
I
terms.
haven't had a chance to look at it.
Take a look at the second page.
$192,500 per year.
Which we pay more than that now to operate.
Okay,
And it also includes not only the building department, but the floodplain manager and the zoning officer effective January 1st.
okay, as long as it saves us money.
And it's going to provide,
And provide a lot more service at a lesser cost.
More hours, full-time.
But you know, I'd also like to make a point. None of this information was in the Monday agenda, as far as I know. I looked at the Monday agenda, and I didn't see any of this information. And because we had doctor's appointments today, I didn't have any time to go back and look at it.
This was in the Monday agenda.
Just the resume.
no, what'd you say?
This was in the Monday agenda, only a minor change has been made since Monday of a typo.
I didn't see it. But I didn't copy Monday's agenda, and I will. So when we make changes on Tuesday, I know.
And in answer to your question, the agreement says Highlands shall be entitled to retain all permit fees. That's right in the agreement.
Are you good, Carol?
Yeah, but-
Okay. Any questions?
Hi.
Hi.
Mr. Rivera, good afternoon.
You
I
might-
looked at the fees.
You might have to speak up a little bit.
I'm sorry. Mr. Rivera, 31 Woolwich.
Mhm.
I looked at the fees, and there are a lot more fees that are going to hurt the residents in Middletown than what's on our chapter 10.2. Actually compare. I mean, it's like, it's broken down. They're up to these fees now. A sink instead of a general plumbing. I mean, every single fixture is all, it's going to cost.
It's broken down.
A lot more money. It's going to.
Not necessarily so, and, okay.
I don't know.
I won't bother.
I mean, I'm just saying that
It's just broken down.
it's more than what we pay now.
Because there's more items listed?
Because there's more items, and, yeah, it's all in one price in all.
So what you're getting is more information on what you're paying for.
No, but
Sorry.
all of it. is
And one thing I will tell you, Trish, is every time I spoke to the building official, that was one of the first things he said to me. You gotta raise your rates here, Ricky. They're not up with everybody else's. You're behind, you're behind, you're behind.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
In some issues, they probably will pay more, yes.
Okay.
But, okay.
I want to make sure everyone knows that.
Well,
But they don't have any discretion here, because if they're doing the shared service agreement, they're required to conform with Middletown's fees.
I'm not-
Okay, I'm just saying, they don't have a choice.
That's not adopted.
Right.
But we're looking at adjusting all our fees across the board.
If we hadn't done the shared service, we were going to raise the fees anyway because they were lower than
Do
standard.
we have a profit and loss on how much it would cost?
Actually, we are in the process of doing a fee adjustment across the board for all of our fees.
I mean, to residents of,
We're doing a fee adjustment for all the fees for the borough across the board.
this had to be cleared by the state also. We just didn't enter an agreement with them. They reviewed this. Yes.
It's gonna cost residents. It looks to me, based on what I looked at, and I went through it really closely, that it's gonna cost residents a lot more.
Actually, not necessarily, because the state has changed the DCA requirements for what you need for a permit. So you're actually not required to get permits for all of the items listed anymore.
Well, that's not what I'm thinking.
It's listed, but you're not required a permit for everything that's listed anymore. They changed that to DCA.
But on the overall, it's going to be
Okay, thank you.
a better service at less rate, at less cost. Okay. Anybody else? Sir?
Ryan Cobb of the Recreation Place. On the same issue, I'm also concerned, you made a very good point. A lot of my neighbors from downtown are still not, we're not fully inspected, final inspection. A lot of people are still building. I've been told by people in the business in this town that we're going to wait. The Highlands will wait. We'll just wait because we don't have our own people here.
We will have people here. We will have people that come and serve the purpose. We're not entering into this to have it be a worse system than we have.
How will this work?
Well, they have more people than we do.
But that inspections,
They'll be down in Borough Hall, just like they are.
we'll call the town.
I don't know if he will be.
I just said, he's been excellent. I just want to clear the
That's
board.
fine.
He's been excellent.
Okay.
And I appreciate it.
It's not a personal thing, Brian. This is a business move. I can assure you of that.
I had that.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you. Anybody else? Sir in the back.
Please come up to the microphone, or at least closer to it, please.
Phil Eller, 30 Jackson Street, shared services. I wanted to support the council or the town for doing that, and hopefully it will happen.
Good boy.
I wanted to just address the idea that as a person who's regularly constructed here for the past 4 years and has worked in Middletown, one of the worst features of our town is the fact that you have to wait 2 to 3 to 4 weeks sometimes to see people who aren't regularly in. And the processing is extremely slow and it's been negative for this town from the start. My experience with the Middletown Building Department, including personal funds, is fantastic. With triple the number of people to process the applications, there should be a faster turnaround time with more accessibility. They're going to assign us a better uniform level of inspectors and inspections. And to the point about the permits and fees, when you get a plumbing permit, you don't get a plumbing permit. You get a permit that actually has the list, the bathroom, the sink, the lab, whatever it is broken down per item. And if you didn't do it, the building department did it for you. So they were always collected per fixture, not per bathroom, for example. I don't believe the cost is different in Middletown for those than it is in Highlands. Regardless, the savings on the salaries and the number of the reduction in the tax rate is going to be great. It makes up for everything in the department, so I support the motion. I'm glad you guys finally took a shot at it.
Thank you. I will add that we had them before. Back in the early 2000s, Middletown did our inspections. At that time, they grew too big and didn't have enough people, so they had to give towns up. The state paid that backup.
Hopefully that will be managed in this contract. I have no idea that better access instead of volume.
You know, there's a lot of people, just to that point, there's a lot of people that believe that that's the only way small municipalities are going to be able to get out of the costs that they're tied up in, is to joint venture with other municipalities. You know, we just don't have all the things a Middletown has. They have a huge tax base. We don't have that. So we have to have the same things that they have. We got to pay for them.
Whereas states do it on a regional basis and on county basis.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on this issue? Seeing that, I'll close the public portion.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 18-241, authorized shared service agreement with Middletown for building department services?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
No.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Council Mayor O'Neill?
Yes.
Resolution 18-241 has been properly approved. Resolution 18-242, award a fair and open contract for professional reassessment services. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
And I'll second it.
Roll call.
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill?
Yes.
Resolution 18-242 has been properly approved. Resolution 18-243, authorized execution of memorandum of agreement with CWA Local 1032. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill?
Yes.
Resolution 18-243 has been properly approved. Ordinances, introduction and first reading. Ordinance 1824, amend Chapter 10 of the Borough Code ordinances that establish fees for the Department of Buildings and Housing. Do I have a motion to introduce?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
Abstain.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil?
Yes.
Ordinance 1824 has been properly introduced. The public hearing will be on December 19th, 2018. Ordinance 1825, amend Chapter 17, which established a business improvement district. Do I have a motion to introduce?
I'll make it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call. Councilmember Braswell?
Abstain?
Councilmember Brouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
No.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil?
Yes.
Ordinance 1825 was properly introduced. The public hearing will be on December 19th, 2018. Ordinance 1826, adopt redevelopment plan for Captain's Cove Marina, Block 84, Lot 2.01. Do I have a motion to introduce?
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil?
Yes.
Ordinance 1826 was properly introduced. The public hearing will be on December 19th, 2018. Ordinance 1827, adopt redevelopment plan for Charlotte Lawn Mobile Home Park, Block 105.107, Lot 1.1. Do I have a motion?
I'll offer it.
I'll second. Roll call?
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neil?
Yes.
Ordinance 1827 has been properly introduced. The public hearing will be on December 19th, 2018. Ordinances, second reading, public hearing, and possible adoption. Ordinance 1821, amend Chapter 21 of the Borough Code concerning expiration of variances. Will you open the meeting to the public?
Sure will. I'd like to speak on this.
Yes. This is, Tricia, if you remember, this is what you had brought up before? Okay. Just wanted to see if you had any questions.
I'm happy to.
Okay.
Ms. Bucko, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering why the land use board objected to this.
Not certain why we did.
The land use board is, the variance granted by the land use board shall expire 1 year unless an extension of time is permitted. And somewhere I read that the land use board is in favor of
It's in the resolutions in their consistency report. The land use board, what their opinion was. And the mayor and council read that report and disagreed with it. And this ordinance was in place before the merger of the two boards. It was rescinded because the zoning board was subsumed by the planning board. So this ordinance now is identical to what was in place with the borough before the boards were merged.
You good, Carol? Anybody else on this, please? That portion of the meeting.
Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1821?
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan? Mayor O'Neil?
Yes.
Ordinance 1821 has been properly adopted. Ordinance 1822, amend Chapter 21 of the Borough Code concerning updated zoning map. Can you open the meeting to the public?
Sure will. Anybody like to comment on this? 1822.
It's really procedural and just updating the zoning map because there was an issue with the boundary line that was addressed by the planner, and it's really procedural. But it's just updating the zoning map, and in this case, the land use board agreed with it.
It deletes and clarifies boundary line within the C1.
Right. It was just a simple clarification.
Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion.
Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1822?
I'll make it. I'll
Okay,
second.
Rose.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan? Mayor O'Neill.
Yes.
Ordinance 1822 has been properly adopted. Ordinance 1823, bond ordinance providing for the replacement of stormwater and sanitary sewer mains, appropriating $5,050,000, and authorizing the issuance of $5,050,000 of bonds and notes. When you open the meeting to the public?
I would. Anybody like to ask a question on this? Okay, so I guess I'll explain it to you. This we had spoke about the last meeting. Let's go to the storm. If you remember earlier this year, the beach was closed down because of a high fecal chloroform count. There's a cross connection in some pipes. The state, the county, Ms. Gonzalez, Dave from the DPW came in and we researched it. And Ms. Gonzalez, somebody from the county, state, about this grant fund, reduction of interest. She'll pick that up now and explain that part of it.
NJEAT had a program that they had put out for beaches, and they found that if you had a sanitary problem and had a sunbathing beach in the area, they would offer a program that gave a principal forgiveness loan to the municipality or area with a 25% interest forgiveness. And being that the borough was interested in resolving the problem, and we went out and went through the storm drains, and we did so many tests, they sat down at the table and offered that program to us, and that's going to allow us to do some great things in town over the next couple of years.
So half of the $5,050,000 would be forgiven, and the interest on the rest of the money would be 75% of current. This is going to include the area from roughly Ocean Avenue, down, I believe, Ocean, Central, Snug, Waterwich, Putty,
Yeah.
as far as Washington.
Straight down Bay for the
And down
sanitary
Bay.
line.
It's going to
Carry it as much as possible.
fix the sanitary sewer plus the stormwater. If you see, sometimes when we flood and we're forced to drive the sewage too hard, we get a spill at the intersection by the hardware store in Best Park. It's going to alleviate that way that connection is made. Okay, there's a problem with the manhole there, and that's going to be addressed. What happens is when the force main on Washington pushes hard, it fills the manhole up with more effluent, and the manhole can satisfy it. So it comes up there, it pushes it up Waterwich Avenue, because it's gravity to the left to go down to the sewer plant. So we're going to take care of that. Hopefully it'll cut out a lot of salt water, fresh water infiltration in the lines, and it should really reduce the problem that we have with infiltration at this end of town. And it will also take care of the problem we have with closing the beaches. That's the theory behind it. Okay.
And as a byproduct, all the stormwater, the whole stormwater system in that area is going to be replaced, and I think when we deal with the engineering on it, we'll have them pitched in a better direction than they currently are.
Right now, the scope is just to see the extents of the boundaries. And then we have a lot of televised lines, so we're going to give that information in. And we're going to come up with a game plan, and we're going to move forward. After that, the roads are going to be paved, and it's going to be...
I've just learned too much about sewer
And
systems.
doesn't this include Jones Creek right out here?
Yeah.
I believe what it includes in Jones Creek, this part of it is the way the water comes from the VFW side of Jones Creek, under Bay Avenue, to the west side of Jones Creek. It's not right the way it is, so that's going to be figured out. So hopefully, when it's taken care of, it will be like it used to be back before that improvement was made, where the water just flows from one side to the other, rather than coming up and across the street, surcharging all the storm drains, flooding down by Central and Bay, between Shore and Bay. So in theory, practicality, this should be a big win for this end of the town. That's how I see it.
We anticipate for spring tide type flooding and nor'easter grade flooding, that this will solve all of that at this end of town in the Waterwitch neighborhood.
A byproduct of that is I brought in a marine engineer to do a little study on this bulkhead wall here. I'm expecting an answer at the end of this week, early next week, on what can be done to stop the influx of water through what we have here into Jones Creek, and hopefully check that situation. And in theory, that job and that expense can be tied in with the job that we're looking to do, with the bond that we're looking to move forward. So hopefully we can try to eliminate most of the flooding down this way. The DPW guys looking at replacing some of the duck bills on the left side of the street side of Jones Creek as a stopgap. Did some work on the back one where you go, where it comes out and surcharges up into Central and Bay. You did some work on the front left on here. Stopgap measures, but we're working to get this done.
And then FEMA just approved 2 flat paths, right?
FEMA just approved 2 flat paths, you know. I know
On west side.
everybody has their opinion of what goes on up here, but we've never dealt with anything that's as slow as dealing with the government. Be it our government, but the government said we have to deal with. Remember, we're on the bottom of the food chain here. You know, it's all uphill from here, and a lot of times that's exactly what it is uphill. But I will tell you, I will attest to the fact that we do work on this, we do struggle with this, and we do put time and effort into alleviating this problem. It's, you know, not only here at this end of the town, but down on North Street, down on Shrewsbury Avenue, down on John Street. That's what we did. I myself turned the pump on this morning on North Street to make sure, I don't know what was wrong with it, but it wasn't working. When I went to work, the water was coming up by Kenny's shop. It was running down Miller Street, because that's tied in together. So I circled back around and went down there and fiddled with the pump until it came on. Alleviate the problem. Called a man that lives there, Johnny Advancey, told him what I did. Okay, that pump's running, you have to check on it. And we held the line until it came back. That's what it takes. But we're trying to alleviate these processes. Down the other end of town, tell me if I'm going on too much. Down the other end of town, Mr. Braswell and myself have spoke to the engineer, CME, and are going to look into putting a pump at the end of John Street, which is tied into Jackson Street, which is tied into some of Shrewsbury Avenue, the triangle by Bill Eiler's summer house. This spring we're going to work to tie in Cornwall Street, probably to Jackson Street, and hopefully with a pump it'll draw the water out and will alleviate the flooding there. We have a flood, we put a new ductile on it, and it seems to be holding. We have to do a better job.
The problem with check valves, when they operate correctly, it lets water out during low tide, but during high tide, the high tides keep not letting the valve open. So if it rains during high tide, the water accumulates on the street. And so putting a pump there will, we can evacuate the pipes during high tide. So that should solve that problem. Pumps are very reliable and need very little maintenance. So we expect that to work pretty well. Also with this grant, this is the $2 million, $2.5 million grant that we've
Let me
applied.
clarify that. What I just spoke to was another grant for $2.5 million, not the same grant for $5,050,000. Okay, that's $5,050,000 is just taking, say,
It's just
from
for this
Washington
area.
this way. This other $2.5 million that Kenny is speaking about right now, I'm sorry I didn't include it, is taking from, say, North Street east to the river.
It's going to include new higher bulkheading for Veterans Park. We had a breach during a spring tide
Well,
along with...
hold on, that's the grant that we applied for that we did not get yet. Well, hopefully we will get it.
But this
That's the
one-
HMG, that's
but
the
that's-
HMGP grant through the county and FEMA that we didn't get yet, but we applied for it. Just
Right, we're
want to
applying,
clarify, this is
yes,
something
we don't have the money yet.
NJEIT we are getting. yes.
We've applied for it, we have good hopes for it. If we get it, this money is being used for this pump on Jackson, higher bulkheading at Veterans, and bulkheading at the end of North Street where the North Street pump is. It's a little too low for some of our routine storm flooding and spring tide flooding. So if all that goes into place, we get the grant and we get to complete all of that, then that'll put an end to our routine flooding in that neighborhood.
No, I've lived here all my life, and I know quite a few of you people have lived here for quite a long time. It doesn't seem like it's getting worse.
It is
I don't know.
getting
It
worse.
seems like the tides are just, I don't know if they're just higher, I don't know if it's global warming, I don't know anything about that.
Can I give you
Tides are coming.
The water's
Look,
higher.
One weekend, we had a nor'easter, we had high flooding the next weekend, we had a spring moon or whatever it is, and it just was like, man, where's this water coming from?
Ked's gonna give you the bad news.
Can I give you some interesting,
Give me anything.
just some interesting facts about how some of our flooding is caused. On the Sunday and Monday after Thanksgiving, everyone remembers that weekend, the streets were totally swamped, but it wasn't raining and we weren't having a storm. The wind wasn't coming out of the east, but we were totally swamped. What that was called a perigeic spring tide. We had on the 23rd, that Friday, a full moon, and then on Monday, the moon was in perigee. That means the moon was at its closest range to the Earth in its orbit. So it's closer, so it pulls a little harder on the ocean and makes the tides more extreme. That's what that was. That had nothing to do with rain or... But no, but it's interesting.
Well, we're
I mean,
in the
it's just
middle of this public hearing for this ordinance. We're in the middle of a public hearing. We
Yeah,
can
I know, we're
talk
going
about
for
that
it.
later.
But it's related. But now listen to this, though. On the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, we again have a full moon on the 22nd and perigee on the 24th. So that weekend, we're going to have flooding. Doesn't stop there. Listen to this.
Wait, you just wait. No, we don't want to hear about
Okay.
Well, at least you have a little heads up. On the January 21st, all in the same 24 hours, we're going to have a total lunar eclipse, a supermoon, full moon, and perigee at a closer range than it was on the Monday after Thanksgiving.
So everybody that lives downtown is going to go to Rick's house.
Now, before we get too far off, we've got $5,050,000 this end, we're looking at $2.5 million the other end. We have a $4 million job that's going on the Valley Street, that's gonna start probably later this month or next month, which in essence should tie all of this together into one uniform stormwater managed system.
We're actually looking at, in the foreseeable future, a dry Highlands for normal weather, normal heavy weather.
Except for Trish, these people almost live uptown. They're just looking at me like...
I mean...
But can you get what we're saying? You know, we for all the time that we've lived here, 20, 30 years, however long you've been here, we've just kind of known Highlands as having water in the street a couple of times a month. We're actually anticipating that not happening anymore.
Looking at $10 million.
Yeah, and a lot of it forgiven or a grant. And it's this council and this administration is making it happen.
Okay, I think we should...
Okay.
I'd like to make a...
Wait,
okay.
we gotta go to questions now.
There you go.
right? Sorry. Could have waited until afterwards. Carl, you about this?
What about the water that's gushing off of the storm drain behind
We suspect that that's not part of the town storm sewer, that may have something to do with the condo that's there and possibly with the creek that runs along the toe of the hill. But it does not show on any of our maps that belongs to the borough. Probably, but we're kind of uncertain about that, so.
Yeah, it doesn't show with any of
I was
our...
gonna say, how do you get certain? You've gotta televise the
Well,
line.
it should,
It doesn't show with any of our infrastructure.
Yeah, I have seen the water during heavy rains, not during high tide, but heavy rain. Water comes out of that.
The homeowner sent videos to the engineer last year.
No, it wasn't last year.
Carla, if it's Gravelly Point?
No.
No, it's not on Gravel.
No, it's not. It's on Sandpiper's property, but the water, when it comes out, flows onto Gravelly.
But it causes all the water to come
Okay.
flood us, but it's not on Gravel.
But if it's not on Gravelly Point, and it's not on the Borough Highlands, and it is on...
But I'm saying
Sandpiper.
It's not on your inventory, but how do you confirm when the homeowner, took the complaint to the borough, we have videos, correct?
Yeah.
Of the water coming, so what's been,
Well, we're not going to send an engineer out to find that out if it's between two homeowners, two separate pieces of property. That's not what we do. We do the town's work, not the private individual.
Well, we're going astray.
Yeah, we're going astray on that.
This should only be on a public hearing.
Okay, public hearing. On the public hearing, somebody in the back, Trish.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you. I think this is great infrastructure project. Okay, that's great.
I'm listening for the but.
We're waiting, but...
I want to know about the bulkheads around here, and obviously Captain Combs is a big source of flooding for
It
us
is.
over here. So all of that work will be in vain unless something is done about that, no.
You're right. You're right, and right now, we've canceled his mercantile
No, thank you
license.
for doing that
But
too.
we've done that, and there are more steps to go forward that, I'll be perfectly honest, I can't tell you that, because it'll turn out to be a legal thing, but there is a steps that
in
we've
litigation.
agreed to take to go to the next platform.
Because he is a source of flooding, which is great.
Sure.
We should keep this ordinance so we can...
Okay.
At this point...
Let me close this up. You have one more thing on that? Okay.
Bulkheads, I'm sorry. Are you going to do anything about Elm Street bulkhead or our bulkhead, public bulkhead here?
Not just right now. Not with any of this money, no.
No, I know, she's talking about the other grant.
I'm sorry.
You
Can
were
you
both
repeat?
talking about down on North Street and down at that park. What about the bulkhead?
No, we didn't reach out for any money on
Okay.
this end.
Bulkhead.
The existing steel bulkhead,
And the wood.
the wood Jones Creek is going to be part of the $5,050,000.
Okay, what about the steel?
The steel bulkhead, the DEP is looking into what we can do to resurface or restructure it. We have to, yeah, so he's actually looking into different things for me.
I mean, it looks like it's
Okay, but we can discuss that after, okay?
Am I looking into things? Yeah, and the DEP is actually helping.
Ms. Corker, you on this bond issue?
Kim Scorpio, Short Drive. I'm just curious, the engineer who's designing the system, the drainage and the sewer, they are very familiar with our flooding issues?
Yes.
Yeah.
They've done some work with us before.
Okay. Is there an opportunity for an outside agency to review them? I just want to make sure that if we're going to do this project, that it's done right.
Can I?
Sure you can.
I actually have a consultant sanitary engineer that I have brought into town.
Okay. And just one last question. What are we doing about the moon? Because that's obviously
Wear your galoshes.
Do I even want to get into my witchcraft? No.
No.
Sir, you wanted to ask a question. You good? Okay. Everybody's good for this? We can talk about the rest of the flooding later? Okay, I'll close the public portion.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Offered by Ms. Brulon, second by Mr. Braswell.
Councilmember Broswell.
Yes.
Councilmember Young.
Yes.
Councilmember DiRigo.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill.
Yes.
Ordinance 1823 has been properly adopted. Other business, Administrator's Project Update.
Charlie doesn't have much to say now, we went over all.
Yeah, not too much. Valley Street Drainage, Underground Utilities is handling the contract. They are going to mobilize to start the sanitary work, sometime during the month of December. They're confirming some pipe structure, sizes, and ordering. Valley Avenue and Highway 36, New Jersey Natural Gas is going to be doing some line work through the winter, and they're going to be doing paving work during the spring. If you want to keep an eye on the website, we're going to be posting it on Instagram and our other social media sites. Portland Road and the upper portion, New Jersey Natural Gas is going to be installing a new line. It's going to start around December 10th. That they're going to be rerouting some of the school buses, so I wanted to let you know about that. And they're going to be paving the road up there in the spring of 2019. Grand Tour is going to be repaved due to New Jersey Natural Gas is going to be installing a new line up that way, and they are going to be paving that in the summer of 2019. Veterans Park Electric should be spec'd out for the stairs and complete soon. And 27 Shore Drive, which is a temporary police facility, they're going to be having a sewer line ran, so if you see some work getting done there, that's some sewer work that's going to be done. The Shore Drive pump station, we're waiting for a larger impeller to be delivered from Sweden. That should be, I think I seen the delivery today outside the building. That should be installed sometime next week. We have officially purchased the property at OLPH yesterday. There's going to be topographical studies that are going to be conducted through the architect. So if you see any studies going on there, that is us that is doing that for our new municipal building. Hopefully we will be breaking ground come late spring or the beginning of the summer. So we're pretty excited about that. Schematics for design should be starting as we form our committee. So congratulations, council. I'm pretty excited.
Before we break ground, the Garden Club has requested that a lot of those plants can be repurposed at Vets Park, especially that nice seagrass.
I talk to him every week about that.
I get multiple requests from Rosemary.
Get all those ladies with short-handled shovels.
I can do that.
I actually brought the mayor up today and explained to him that I have to save as many of the plants as possible, and I'm going to have somebody come in and try to save them and do it at the right time as possible. Jones Creek, I think the mayor touched that about the engineer that came in, and we're going to try to do it.
That's a separate guy, a separate engineer.
So that's some of the stuff that's going on. I probably left some stuff out, but I'm sure you're done with hearing me talk for the evening.
Chief, fire chief?
Good evening, guys. I'm Mike Armstrong. I'm your fire chief for this year. I realize that being we are a completely volunteer organization, we don't get to see you as often as we like to see you, and that's probably for a good thing, because you're not calling us. But there's a lot of information that the fire department shares with our fine council here, and I wanted to make sure that you guys understood that information, and you realize that we were as kind of forward-facing and open to the public as we are to them. So this will, of course, be recorded in the minutes, and you'll be able to get a copy. And naturally, because we're all about social media, we're going to be providing it on our social media as well, to just be completely transparent with the public on the kind of service we provide to you. So on a monthly basis, a report is sent to the Borough Administrator, Mayor, and Town Council on the activities that take place within the fire department. We provide this insight into the organization as we feel it is the best way to communicate the services provided by our department while keeping expectations aligned. We feel that our fire department adds a significant value to the wonderful people within this borough, and providing a view into our activity can help everyone understand its value. The major points emphasized within the reports are fire calls, general activity, events, pertinent upcoming activities, and then the report will detail a summary of this information from January 1st until November 30th. So, give you a little insight. bottom line, the fire chief term is a one-year term, so come December 30th, there's a has-been ex-chief, and a new guy comes in, but we keep the continuity in our department. So in regards to fire calls, for the reporting period noted, we received and responded to 190 calls. This would be, again, just from January 1st until November 30th, because I don't like to report things. I'm an engineer myself. I don't like to report things until I have final numbers. So at the end of this month, I'll provide a report for what had happened this month. So our calls range from fire alarms, water flow alarms, motor vehicle accidents, mutual aid requests, water rescues, first aid assist, CO alarms, down wires, and structure fires. Pertinent information in these events I've shown below, because I feel like there's certain information within here that, one, it was a big enough event within town that everybody's like, what the hell happened down there? And I think it's probably important for you guys to understand what has happened in your town. So in January, we had a structure fire within the borough located on 4th Street. And although the department was unable to salvage the structure, we were able to mitigate any further damage to any surrounding resident structures. The resident within the house at the time self-extricated herself and only sustained minor burns. And it really, at that point, just solidified how well the town, all the organizations work together, because First Aid, the council, Ms. Gonzalez, the PD, the First Aid, everybody was at the incident. Everybody worked well together, and it just shows that throughout the year. In February, we had a structure fire located at 111 Navesink Avenue. It was a unique scenario in that the house involved was in the middle of Highland Avenue and Navesink Ave, Highway 36, which was between two other occupied houses. The call was made to dispatch at about 8:11 p.m. on February 22nd, with essentially all of our equipment coming on scene. Upon arrival, the fire department found flames rising above the back of the house and throughout the roof. Lines were stretched from the aerial engine with mutual aid assisting with initial attack and overhaul. So we had multiple companies coming in on this one, helping us out, because we just get to the point where we're strapped for manpower and we need more help. The fire was knocked down and units began to clear around 10:30 p.m. Fire police stayed on scene until about 11, directing traffic, as unfortunately, we had to close down the highway because we needed to stretch a hose line across for water supply. In June, we responded to a motor vehicle accident which occurred within Middletown Township's jurisdiction. However, due to our PD being on scene first, they dispatched RFP due to the severity of the incident. So we were first on scene and used extrication equipment to remove one victim, and unfortunately there was one fatality. There was also a structure fire in that same month at Henry Hudson Regional, located within the band room, involving an electric heater. The fire was contained to one room and minimal damage occurred. In August, we responded to a call that could affect many households in Highlands that involved an elevated generator located on a platform attached to the side of a newly raised house. The generator had never been test ran before during windy conditions, and when a recent storm hit, the town lost power and the unit automatically started and ran for a lengthy period of time, whereby the exhaust was being funneled into the attic via the soffit. And of course, this type of construction could be verified and protect the homeowner of its own. So they were going to just die of CO, and it's a terrible scenario there. But we responded, all the systems worked they were supposed to, vented the house, protect the homeowner, and lock out the device. So we just want to make you guys all aware that it might be something that you have in your house that might be an issue. In November, just this past month here, we responded to an electrical fire on a post-Sandy house, which has been completely remodeled and lifted. It turns out that a wet-rated GFI receptacle that also had a cover on it faulted due to water intrusion in the back of the box of the receptacle. The receptacle was located on the outside of the house, just left of the front door, and the breaker faulted as it should have, however, not before severely damaging the receptacle and the siding that the box was attached to. Of note here is that the receptacle was tied into a circuit which was a part of an instant hot water heater power feed, and the code advises in this scenario that utilities within the home have dedicated power feeds, and this house is not wired as such. So we've been hearing a lot of stories about, shady contractors, and, you can put every ordinance and thing in place, but if the contractor's not doing what they're supposed to do and everybody's not checking every single box, just be aware that this could be you, and we want you guys to know that. Some other notable general activity, because you guys would kill me if I do what I do to my guys and I read everything here. So just some general notable activity events that we take care of and we do in-house. On January 14th, the department picked up a used engine from Marble Fire District. This new engine will eventually replace the engine known as 1775. All throughout the month, members were putting time into readying the truck for service. On January 26th, I met with the POSHA enforcement officer, Stuart Cobb, for a follow-up visit from the original inspection, which took place of our entire department on November 20th of 2017. An initial visit there where there was 8 items noted being deficient, 2 items being were trip or head hazards, 1 which were pertaining to an electric panel not being clear for use, and 1 regarding a non-compliant engine known as 1775 being in service, and 4 items pertaining to administrative programs which were not in writing where the department was fulfilling the needs of the requirements. So during the follow-up inspection, the inspector was shown that all deficiencies were abated except for that old engine still being in service. The inspector advised that due to us receiving the engine from Marlboro and it meeting the requirements, that this item would be considered abated and the file would be closed with no fines to issue. So we're able to take care of everything in-house and fix all our issues and become POSHA compliant. In regard to some grants, on February 2nd, the department submitted a grant application to FEMA for the 2017 AFG. Details of the grant are below, but in summary, it's essentially for $327,000 for new SCBA packs that we use on all of our apparatus, a pack tracker system to track the guys that are wearing those packs, which is about $5,000, a RIP pack, which accompanies our SCBA packs, which is about $8,500, and a personal escape rescue system, a harness that we would all personally wear that comes in at about $25,000. So the total grant submission for this AFG grant was $367,000. So we submitted that this year in February. We won't find out until essentially a few months from now if we were able to obtain it. March 9th, the department submitted for the New Jersey American Water Grant to purchase reflective stickers and things for the fire apparatus, providing additional visibility of our apparatus during evening hours. The grant was for $1,000. Unfortunately, we lost out on it. I'm just bringing this to your attention because we are doing some efforts in-house because we're really good at it to get money that the taxpayer doesn't have to pay for, and we can just keep forward on, really grants that are out there. We didn't win, but we're going to give it hell next year and just continue on. So June 25th, the department attended a webinar for a grant funding project to help aid in the capital projects for ongoing service of the equipment. So again, just kind of reiterate, we're trying. August 19th, we placed the used engine from Marlboro Fire District known as 1776 into service while removing from service the out-of-compliance engine, which is 1775. So all this work, again, was it our guys essentially hammering down every Tuesday night and just getting it done. So just kind of bravo to our guys. They really knock it out. September 20th, the department attended the Highlands Elementary School back-to-school night in an effort to provide more visibility to the parents and the children that we're a resource for volunteering. Again, on that one, they actually invited us this time for the first time this year, and we're all about it because, quite frankly, the average age of our guys is about 52 years old. And, I'm the young guy, and, I see some familiar faces around here that have been around for years, and they remember me running around as a snot-nosed kid in this building. So we need some young guys for sure. And then you probably saw this one most recently, but November 13th, in conjunction with the Borough of Highlands, the Highlands Fire Department entered into an agreement with the United States Coast Guard vessels, Sittenack and Shrike. The agreement outlines HFD providing fire protection services at no cost to the United States Coast Guard, whereby this agreement being in place could provide HFD with potential grant opportunities in maintaining or upgrading apparatus equipment in the future. So as we submit these applications into AFG for 2017, 2018, 2019, and all that, our application just gets rated better if we have this type of agreement in place, and it doesn't cost us anything. If our equipment's damaged at a fire, they gotta pay for it. If we have any expenses, they gotta pay for it, and it's all free to you guys. So it just helps us raise the bar in terms of getting grants and winning them. So we're just trying. So again, I won't belabor the other 70 points that I have here that were throughout the years, throughout the year. But of course, this will be completely available for your viewing. Again, by all means, please reach out to me before I'm kicked out of the seat, because everybody's sick of hearing me talk. So, but in closing, I do want to just kind of remind everything on two events that we do have coming up, which is December 9th, in conjunction with the Knights of Columbus, Baymen's Association, and of course us. We're doing a free pancake breakfast up at OOPH Gym, 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. And then on December 16th, we do Toys for Tots. We do that completely in-house from 1 p.m. until the kids are all served. So if you guys know of any families that are in extra need, have them reach out to me. My contact info is here and pretty much all over the internet. So please, HFD is always taking care of its own, and we'll continue to do that. So thank you.
Police chief report?
Nothing.
Looks good. Public portion. Carol, always ready to lead it off.
Shore Drive. I just wanted to ask about Resolution 18242 that you passed. This reality data system, are they local or are they from Western Europe?
You've been around a long time, Carol. I think you might be from West New York.
I think it might be from Western York, and they are terrible. Not done a good job for us ever.
It was RDS or Realty Data. It was the only two that put in for it.
Yeah, it's
It
not
was
like
the
there's a
worst
lot of
thing.
Changing their name and they do it.
It's not like there's a lot of them out there.
I'm just telling you,
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I have appeals all over the place.
Anybody else? Mr. Fowler?
Carlos Follow on behalf of the Highlands Business Department. On behalf of the HBP board, we're very concerned about Councilwoman Villarriba's letter to a Facebook administrator that's not the official Facebook page for Borough of Highlands. We're not really sure why she would send Mr. Schneider, John Schneider, the admin of the Facebook page, a letter regarding very defamatory and slanderous, and sign it as a council official. And
If you feel there's...
I would like to, excuse me, I would like to finish. I have a lot to say.
Okay.
Okay. I'm speaking on behalf of so I would like to ask, I'm not going to get into all the little unprofessional innuendos that Steve and I have no idea about following her or any of these nonsense. But the one thing we would like to ask is what backup, and I would like to address you, Mr. Tabarrok, if you don't mind, did she sign as a borough official? She states that the partnership is in violation of the state statute and IRS regulation. Can you please explain that?
That assertion, I would direct that to the person
Okay, I
who
would like
published that,
you
because
to explain to us on the record what evidence you have that we are in violation of the IRS, not an ordinance, that is wrong due to previous, not our wrongdoing. Okay? Please explain why, what evidence you have that we're in violation of the state statute or the IRS, because our records are completely compliant, and your post is nothing but lies. And how dare you? Shame on you. Shame on you.
First, I will address all of,
Carla.
you're asking questions, and I will address your questions. First, I was contacted by at least 40 people via the Facebook page, John's page, concerning things that were being posted. I had to answer them, and I wanted to answer them. As you know, I started on January 23rd.
Carla, would you let her speak first?
I read the whole story.
Okay, let her speak.
No, she's done nothing on council. I want the answer.
She will get to the answer.
No, that's all I want.
I'd like to hear the answer.
We want the answer.
Enough. Let her speak.
What violation are we in from the IRS? What is it?
Are you going to let me speak, or are you going to...
I don't need to hear the whole story that you posted.
Well, if you'll let me speak...
Carla, she has the floor. Would you please stop?
Are you going to let me speak? On January 23rd, I requested from you, after receiving your budget...
Carla, would you let her speak? She sat there quiet when you spoke, so let her speak. We're going to get to the bottom of it.
It's obvious that you do not want to hear the answers, so therefore, if you think I made a slanderous comment, take it to court. I'm certainly happy to deal with you on that level. I am certainly happy to do that. I have backup to everything. You keep stopping me, I'm not even going to bother. Because as soon as I start to answer your question...
Stop, all right? Stop, please. You ask a question, let her have an answer.
To go back to what you were in violation of. On January 23rd, I sent you, copying Mr. Chabarak, an email requesting from you the backup to the budget you had produced to the council for approval. I have worked with in a 501c3 capacity for 20 years. I know what yes, I did. I worked for the YMCA system for 20 years. That can be verified. Keep shaking your head no, and I'm telling you, go ahead and verify it. I know what I had to produce as a 501c3. I asked you for exactly what I needed to produce for a 501c3. Your ledgers, your profit and loss on each event, your invoices, your RFPs, and you refused them to me. And in copying that, you copied your entire board of directors and said you were denying me, as a councilwoman, the right to access those things. After the third time of my requesting them, you told me I could come and sit in your office and look at your books. That is not my job. Your job as a 501c3 is to produce your documents and keep them with a record keeper in the town.
Wait.
You speak to me with respect. You're demanding me. And it's not true. And you know it's not true. And you have not worked for a bid. A bid is different.
I did not say I worked for a bid. I said I worked for a 501c3 entity.
I know you did, okay? But that has absolutely nothing to do with our program.
You are a 501c3 entity.
We provided our $70,000 worth of assessments. We respond to all the Oprah requests, okay? It's harassment.
I do not have to...
You have not answered how we violated the IRS. I'm hearing what you're saying, okay? But you are not saying how we are in violation of the statute or the IRS. That's the answer I want. Can you give me that answer?
The ordinance and the state statute state that you must keep your records with a record keeper. No, they were not. At the time that I requested them, they most definitely were not and had not been for 7 years.
They are.
They were not.
Certified audit every year.
Okay, your records were to be in the town.
And they were always provided to Ms. Cummings. What happened, I do not know. Maybe when you lost the records after Sandy. Never had a problem before. Never, ever, ever.
The records after Sandy were not lost.
Asked for them, Kim has them printed out in her office in a binder.
They were not there when I requested them in January. They were not there for 2017. They were not there for 2016. They were not there for 2015. I went through every single book of minutes from those years. They were not there. They were not recorded in the minutes that you had submitted them.
They're on our website, and we sent them, and...
It is not the town's responsibility.
Okay.
Community affairs.
Okay, enough's
So
enough
we are
here.
not in violation.
Okay, enough's enough now.
Stop lying.
Carla, enough's enough. Okay? Anybody else have a comment on anything else but that? Miss,
Tricia.
Tricia?
Hard to follow that. I wanted to just talk about the Captain Gomes redevelopment plan that I know you're having a public
Okay.
meeting on the next meeting, but I know you're voting on that meeting also. So I wanted to just ask if you can consider, instead of that redevelopment plan, possibly using that as a canal, so for flood mitigation, like the Dutch do. You can make it longer, maybe put a boardwalk on top of it, make a public space. Just ideas. I mean, maybe the state would be blue acre it, green acre it, whatever it's called. Maybe we can use it for flood mitigation. I mean, I realize we're, you know, I look a lot to the Netherlands because they are completely they have a country under sea level. So I think we need to start looking at ways of how we can take on water and ways, and in a hard infrastructure way. I think we need two ways of handling it here. And that's a way of allowing water to come in, giving water more room. You can go back to the parking lot of Captain Coast. You can go as far back. So that would even give water more space to come in. You get what I'm saying?
No.
Making
Anyone?
it a canal.
The street's draining to that now.
No, I mean, build, well, first of all, it's got to be built higher because it's too low, it's all right.
There's a lot of things, I'll just go out there, there's a lot of things that are possible, but first there's a procedure that we have to go through.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to maybe throw some ideas out to you guys. All the time you can look, you can Google what they do in the Netherlands, and that's one of the things they do. They have decided instead of fighting the water to accept the water, and that would be a perfect place to start and start thinking out of the box.
The area of redevelopment that we did was a non-condemnation. That means that we are not seizing a resident's property.
It's non-eminent domain.
That's, condemnation means eminent domain.
Well, but the place is condemnable. Come on.
I understand what you're saying. The object of doing an area of redevelopment is to rezone a property with public input.
Trish, there's this,
Okay, but here, can I ask you a question?
He wants to sell the property, and if you make it, if you change the zoning,
From him.
anyone could buy the property from him.
The green acres, the blue acres, they will come in and buy that property from him for us to do something like that. And I don't
But
know why we're not.
that's down the road, he still owns it, we don't
No,
own
I
it.
know that, but he wants to sell it. And the state will buy something like that if we
You
use
still
it.
go through with the redevelopment plan, and then you can always do a change to the
I just
redevelopment
wanted to
plan.
draw that
Thank
out
you.
there, because I think we should start thinking out of the box and thinking
Understood.
and looking at ways of allowing the water to come in further and, you know, give
Yeah.
space to the water, and maybe that will help with the flooding instead of
Yes, sir.
all hard infrastructure. The Dutch has been doing it for years, it's been working for them. So, I mean, and I looked at the redevelopment plan, and the one thing I'll say about the redevelopment
And there-
plan, which I hope you reconsider, is that it also puts aid around the building, which I hope you do green infrastructure. Reconsider that, because it is in our main master plan it's 3 pages in the master plan reexamination plan, sorry. That is all about green infrastructure and how we should be using green infrastructure anywhere we can in this city. So I just want that. If you go and vote on that, You need to change that, because that's got to, it can't be paid. But I wish you would consider out of the box thinking.
There will be a time for that, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, miss.
I just have a quick question. Speaking of selling property, Tina Hammer at 164
There you go.
Lincoln Avenue. So speaking of selling property, from what I understand, the church downtown, thank God, is no longer a rehab, drug rehab. I understand it's under contract. Does anybody know anything about that? If it's what the entity is? Is there any information that can be shared?
People buy and sell property all the time. They don't come to the borough and ask permission. They're private real estate deals.
It's just that it has been...
There hasn't been anything prior.
Part of public discourse for a while. Okay.
Nothing has come across the table, no.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Anybody else?
Mr. Brian Cobb,
Mr. Cobb.
To this, I want to thank the council first for finally doing something about Captain's Cove Arena, that there is, it's not over. All my neighbors, we have mud in our street, the clay issue, I'll come to the point. Mr. Ozak has equipment on borough property. He has an excavator stuck at the end of recreation place. I would like to clean up that area, but I can't. And with his equipment there, he's left the orange barrels, he's left stuff from his work. So I don't know how to address this. This is borough property. It's a mess. We've got equipment on it. And I turn to the attorney for some advice.
I was going to say, I think I'll handle that with the attorney and the engineer.
I don't give advice to you, I give it to the mayor. They get the direction, but I'll raise it.
We're gonna see what's gonna go on, Brian. Hopefully, he's gonna move to fix the rest of it. But, you know, there's a procedure that we're involved in now, you see. So it's either gonna go...
This is on borough property,
Right.
so I would think that at a minimum, you could get his stuff off.
Right. And from what his conversation was about taking stuff off the house, I would tend to think it'd be on the other side, where he's doing construction. You know, I don't know. It's a tough spot we're in with them. You see how he is and stuff. We've been patient
He's not going to do anything about
and
it.
we've moved on it, and, you know, we just told him tonight, and we'll see what his reaction is, and we'll follow it up from there. You know what I mean? But we're not just gonna walk away from this. There's actually other procedures that we're going to go right into from the heels of tonight.
Can the borough do anything about the clay since it is borough property?
I'm going to follow up with the engineer and the attorney, and I'll let the mayor and council know, you know.
I appreciate it very much.
Miss, right there?
Mary Saltzman, 43 Spud Harbor. I'm just curious about the $5 million project and what the time frame is or something like that. No pressure, I'm just asking.
It's in the process of getting spec'd out, so I really wouldn't be able to give you a good scope of spec. You know, I really need to firm it up with the engineers.
And the other thing is...
We hope to be, I would tend to think we hope to be in construction by the summertime. You know, which, now, we've asked for a lot of fixes in town, right?
Those are the famous last words. I won't hold you to it.
We asked for a fix down in this neighborhood. We have a fix going on Valley. We're looking to do a fix on, gotta bear with that, okay? You know, it's gonna make some rough roads and some tough getting around, but it's for the better. But go ahead.
My other thing is, when Donica used to broadcast the meetings, it was a lovely and wonderful thing because you could watch them simultaneously. You weren't able to get here, as generally speaking, I'm not. And now I try to watch the video, but it's virtually impossible to listen to. And the picture is blurry, and it sounds like such horrible problems, but I feel like it's important for me to keep up with what's going on here because there's so much. And it's almost impossible to hear the video. Every sixth word is just kind of cut out. And I don't really know what system you're using, but I know that all she had was a simple laptop, and it wasn't perfect, but it was much better than what's available now. And I'm just hoping that somebody can kind of...
I don't know why.
We had a service call out today, and they did actually upgrade our video quality, so I'm hoping that and the other fixes they made today might help with the quality that'll be on tomorrow. If you do notice a difference, please feel free to reach out to me. Unfortunately, we do not have the capability of broadcasting live with our system. So hopefully it'll be improved tomorrow.
Great, thank you. And I guess I have to say thank you, and I feel terrible about all the animosity going on. It's terrible to hear, to listen to, it must be terrible to live through, and I don't know, I hope it can all be worked out, that's all.
Anybody, this board member, then you and Ms. Burton, then we'll call it a night.
Tim Sturgis, 315 Front Drive. I noticed that coming up the next meeting is a public hearing for changes to the bid ordinance. Can someone tell me what the purpose of those changes are? What are we trying to accomplish?
Just trying to get a little bit of clarity in there and change the way some things are done.
And also adding in all of the properties that were left off, taking off properties that should not have been on there.
Yes, I'm going to follow up with an email on that, because I think there's a couple.
I don't know if you have the latest and greatest.
I printed it out yesterday.
We're one behind on that one. The new one today is not get posted. That fixed the two things.
Okay.
All right, Emily, I'll reach out.
It'll be posted tomorrow morning. I'll send you an email as well.
I'm just curious why there's nothing in the ordinance that the HPC should try to be self-sustaining, and why you didn't give the businesses an opportunity to opt out. That seems to be an issue.
The ordinance doesn't change with the ability of the residents to, the businesses to opt out. It says no change.
Okay.
The only changes are what's
But
reflected in the
I
ordinance.
understand that. I'm just wondering why, if we're going to work on changing the ordinance, why that wasn't included.
Well, it's not necessarily opt out. They have a right to appeal to the tax assessor. That's in the ordinance.
The only appeal you can do
Right.
is if your business is no longer commercial, or like you change it to residential, or if you're a profit business and it's now a not-for-profit.
This is from the state statute, Kim. We didn't make this up.
Okay, well, no, I didn't make it up.
No, I'm just saying, it's like, we didn't just like throw it in there for fun. That's part of the state statute.
And a bid isn't supposed to be self-sustaining.
Yeah, a bid isn't self-sustaining.
So that's not what the state
In
statute is.
past ordinances, it has been. I'll go back and I'll find the ordinance for you and let you know.
Well, we're not looking to break this organization by any means. That's not what's going on, regardless of, in my opinion, what anybody feels. We're trying to get what's going on here, that little conversation, not to happen anymore. We're trying to get some clarity in there that you've been calling for, and some, where's this going to be when I need it? Kind of things like that. You know, there's other items that need to be tweaked. And to be perfectly honest with you, for me, the organization knew that we were going out to look into this 6 weeks ago. Yet today, yesterday, whatever it was, we get notice that, we really shouldn't do it like that. No, I think we had to push the limit a little bit to get where we are. And hopefully between this meeting tonight and the next meeting, maybe there can be some dialogue to work on different issues here. Nobody's looking, I'll be perfectly honest, I really don't care what any of you think, okay? I don't have anything against the bid, I don't have any against the people that don't like the bid. That's just how it is. But I can't have the borough of Highlands spend all their time chasing Oprah requests and looking. Can't have that. Can't have that. I want you to be able to find out what you want to know by going to them. That's what I want to have done.
Well, so that leads to a question that I was going to kind of let go. How do I get my information? Because if I send an open request, I've got the general ledger. I'm an accountant. I look at it. I have some questions. I asked for a request. I spaced them out once a day so that they didn't have all these requests in one day.
And I'm not picking on you because I didn't know that you're doing
I
that.
understand that. So my question now is, what is an adequate time period between open requests so that I'm not denied information? Because that was the letter. You said too many, we can't handle it, you're not getting it.
Never said that.
No,
No, you didn't say that. That was the letter I got from the bid,
Oh.
from the APC. So I need
It
someone...
didn't say that.
Know what I
I
want.
need someone to be a liaison to help me figure this out. So that...
And we're looking to, that's what I'm trying to do, Kim, is get closer to that spot, okay? There's different opinions at this table, there's different opinions in this crowd right now of how it should go. But when this first started months ago, I told Mr. Salif when he said that, this is something you have to handle in your house. Why do I have to, and my fellow councilmen have to listen to this every week? It doesn't have to be that way. I don't need this. We're looking to spend like $10 million to do infrastructure fixes, and then we've got to argue about this. I don't want to argue about this no more anymore. I don't want to do that. I want to have some kind of clarity, some kind of point, some kind of place you can go to get that. That's what I want to have.
And HVP is the District Management Corporation that is appointed by the council. So by default, you are kind of a liaison.
I am, absolutely.
So if you could just kind of help me out, I don't know if Kim wants to be the go-between or someone else on
I
the
can't
council.
afford to have her be the go-between.
I'm out. After this year, I'm never going to be the liaison.
I can't have her do that. I can't have
I'm
her spend her time. She can't spend all her time doing that. You know what I mean?
Honestly, it wasn't burdensome. And if they said, how about 1 a week? I might
Well,
say,
but
okay with
Kim,
that.
it's
But
not
instead
just
I'm
you.
told no.
It's not just you that asked for it. It's not just you that asked for those kind of things.
Again, I'm
Okay?
looking for the dialogue. Instead of get told no,
As am
sit
I.
down.
As am I. I'm looking for the dialogue. Okay? And it seemed to me that we had to go a few steps forward or ahead of where we might have wanted to go to force some dialogue to come together. And I'm thinking that maybe between this meeting and the next one, there'll be another meeting where we can discuss it. But we can't discuss it like it was being discussed tonight. That's futile. I mean, that's useless. We're just spinning our wheels here. It's worse than
That's not
that.
discussing.
That's not discussing. It can't be like that. Okay? Carla, stop, please. Okay? All right? I hope I satisfied some of your answers, some of your questions. Anybody else want to prolong this? Nancy?
Nancy Burton, 22 Atlantic Street, owner of In the Garden, Flowers and Plants, 69, Waterbury Avenue. I want to state that I disagree with Councilwoman D'Arigo's most recent letter submitted to John S., the administrator of the unofficial Highlands Facebook page with over 7,000 followers. In this letter, she claims that my actions are intimidating and inappropriate because of my marriage to Chief Robert Burton. I want the public to know that these incidences were brought to the attention of the prosecutor's office, and they were dismissed. Claudette is well aware of this, but she still has to put it out on social media. I want the public to know that Claudette, at the same meeting, told another business owner not to bother talking with me because I live in a world of butterflies and rainbows.
I never
That
said
sounds
that.
very intimidating to me.
Never said that. That was Steve that said that.
The portion of her letter addressing me entering a business and asking for a letter is completely not an accurate account of what took place. I'll be happy to retell the story if anyone is interested. I, as well as the HPP, have not broken any laws, including the IRS example that Claudette writes about, which I still don't know exactly which IRS law she's stating that we broke. But I know that we have our certified audit every year, that these people would not put their jobs on the line. We would not put our jobs on the line or our names. I would like to ask Councilwoman Claudette and Steve Solomon to stop using my name and my business name on social media, as I, as well as my business partner Eileen Ricco, work very hard and depend on our fantastic client relations, customer service, quality, and award-winning status to continue our progress. Their posts are slanderous and defamatory, and I also would like to ask you to stop immediately, especially if you're while you hold offices on council. I want to bring up that at our latest HCP meeting, we had over 20 commercial property owners in attendance. Not one was unhappy with our services. They were actually praising all of the wonderful things that we do in town and all of our improvements. Nothing was brought up that was negative. Our next meeting is January 21st. In my opinion, why the reason the ordinance changes are being brought up, we've been trying to get these ordinances more in line with our bylaws and goals and objectives for as long as I've owned In the Garden, which is now over 15 years. So I feel that this is a step in the right direction, and I would like to encourage you to at least have 2 to 3 of our board members on conversations like the mayor mentioned. We also went over the ordinance at our most recent meeting, January 21st, with changes and suggestions that we have to have it be more in line. So I hope that you take that hard work and time that we put in into consideration. reconsideration?
Some of those have been made.
And I saw that, that's why I've been bringing it up. Thank you for your time.
Seems like some headway was made tonight, maybe.
And I'd like to answer some of her comments. Number one, I never said butterflies and whatever you said. That wasn't me, you know, it was Steve. It was not me. I'm sorry. But you can verify that with him. Number two, you stood up in a council meeting in the back of the room and stated that you went into the laundromat and asked the owner for a letter. I did not do that. You did that. Okay? After I went and got a survey from him, or, excuse me, a questionnaire, because I don't mean to use the word survey. Okay? So, I didn't do that. You did. 2 other business owners came to me and complained that you did the same thing to them. I'm sorry if that doesn't satisfy you, but that's what happened. So, no, I'm not, because the questionnaire was anonymous.
Excuse me,
And,
Wait, she does, because she's answering your question. I'll give you time.
because she's commenting.
well, yes, I'm coming.
Not being fresh, I'm just saying.
Well, I thought you had finished. If you're not finished, go ahead.
You can finish, and then I'm going to comment.
Okay. As far as the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office, number one, they called me and asked me if the chief was involved. I said no. I explained to them what you had done with the owner of the laundromat. That is all I did. It had nothing to do with absolving you or relinquishing responsibility for you. There was a question posed to me. You were not exonerated for anything because nothing was accused of you.
The accusation...
Wait, you can't, she can.
So, because Claudette brought it up, I would like to talk about the incidents that happened at the laundromat for everyone in the room and also the council, so I can reiterate this. Claudette mentioned in her post that she was tasked by, because she was the only one who volunteered, she doesn't bring that up, but, to go around to businesses that were unhappy. Why did I get a survey? We talked about this before. I am not unhappy. I was then told that the laundromat was unhappy. I am in and out of every business in this town. I find myself to be friendly with almost every commercial property owner in this town. When I was told that the laundromat owners were unhappy with the situation, I went and had a conversation with them. They were, in fact, not unhappy. They enjoyed the week off. They used family vacation. They talked nothing negative. They had only nice things to say about Carla and her support from the Highlands Business Partnership, as well as the mayor and council. I then left the building, went and returned, and because I had in my head that I should get this on paper. So I asked them to put their wonderful things that they just said on paper, which they did, and they submitted to you all. That's how that went down. I do not remember going in any other businesses when you're playing with 2 other businesses. I don't have any recollection of that. If you're talking about the girls' cafe, you talk about lots of business during that so I don't know.
As you know, the questionnaire was an anonymous questionnaire. To ask anyone their opinion after I stated it was an anonymous questionnaire is wrong, in my opinion. It is improper behavior, and you are held to a higher standard because you are the chief's wife. That's just the nature of the job of your husband. And I apologize that that doesn't make you comfortable, but that's your job, that's your role. You're married to the chief of police, and when you go into a place, people know that. They know that about you. I understand that.
She is right, I took the point of thought. It's the mayor's wife. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's just how it is.
It's just how it's perceived.
Wait a second.
The letter makes a comment that maybe they sold their business because of going in there, and they retired.
I didn't even know they were gone.
No, I did not say that. No.
You insinuated.
Okay. We gotta keep it. Are you good, Nancy? Okay.
Would you like to say something, miss?
Yeah, so my point is...
Your name and address.
I'm sorry, I didn't even bring one, that's the point is what you stated. You stated things about in the garden, Nancy Burton lived in the garden. I don't believe this takes into consideration that she also has a business partner. So you are slandering our business.
I did not mention in the garden. I mentioned her name. Read the email.
Okay, Steve, all right.
I'm not speaking for Steve. I did not mention anybody's businesses.
Lady. Go ahead.
So you stating that Mrs. Burton's behavior was inappropriate but illegal, but by you going to John Schneider and posting that, writing him a letter and then posting it is not illegal, but definitely inappropriate.
That was up to John to post it. I addressed that to John.
Unfair. So too
But-
much within the garden, whatever is going on, it's slandering.
But you understand that I did not state in the garden anywhere in my letter. I did not state any business name. I absolutely did not. Go back and reread the letter.
And we won't go down, it's going to be more. Late tonight, 10:30, and I'm going to call for adjournment.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.